Hey folks, how's it going? It's been 2 pretty exciting days thanks to the Granblue Fest streams, and I'm fairly hyped for the upcoming updates, so let's start with the recap. Coming soon to a Granblue near you, we've got the new Christmas units, Mahira and Altair. The new Christmas skin this year goes to Hacelia, while Tien's one will become permanently available in the shop. The old skin gacha skin for John will also be added to the Daily Points shop on the 17th. December will see the Primal Resonance event as a rerun, while the Many Lives of Cats will rerun in January. For this year's Old Long Sign, there's going to be a collaboration with a snacks company that's going to change the type of meat we'll be farming to summon the bosses in the January Unite and Fight. This will come with a new art version for the Living Zodiac. Sleepy Katura looks so damn cute that's going to become a permanent skin for me. God, what I would give to be that cow. Moving on, they had the heart not to leave us waiting another year for more Sixth Dragon content, and they've announced the Old Bonds event for January that will finally show the humanoid form for all its participants. Before the Unite and Fight, we will also be met with a Xenodiablos rerun that will bring the usual AX skills and a new end cap for its spear. As anyone could have guessed, the boss for the Light Unite and Fight is going to be Artemis. But the event will actually begin on the 15th, which is not ideal since I was planning to spark for Lich in the January Flash Fest. That means I'll be without pain and suffering for the meat farming, or, well, at least without one type of pain and suffering, but that's a discussion for another video. After the Guild War, we'll get relaxed with 2 new floors for the Tower of Babel, which will lead us into February's story event. Overall, a pretty nice schedule. In addition to the standard events and rerun, they've also unveiled the first of the new raids. These will be called Ened series and will be inspired by Egyptian deities. They will be 30-man V2 fights and supposedly on the same difficulty level as the Magna 2 ones. The first raid shown is Osiris, bringing 2 new weapons. They haven't mentioned what type of skills these weapons will have, Magna, Normal or EX, just that we'll be able to refine them into attack, defense or special type using materials the same bosses will drop. The raids will be released in late December, but the weapon refinement will only come with the anniversary. On the 14th, we will finally get the promised class upgrades, with the levels going up to 30 and each class gaining more passives and an improvement for their first skill. There's quite a lot to cover here, but the ones that stand out the most seem to be Berserker gaining supplemental damage on triple attack, Nighthound gaining Licious backline damage on chain burst, a 10 hit skill 1 and a dispel plus delay after dodging. Lumberjack will gain even more sustain thanks to a new heal on chain burst, while Relic Buster gets a free skill 1 cast upon taking 25% or more HP as damage, as well as the strength turning into gemmed if they are below 50% HP. Doctor granting 30% charge bar for allies healed by potions will also come really handy in our raids, especially alongside its new team-wide stacking attack and defense up on skill 1. Soldier will finally be free from its class champion weapon as it gets a free reload on charge attack, while Necromancer loses the debuff component of its buff. Rising Force will get its own hype extension on charge attack, so Aoidos will no longer be a third wheel when playing with Anthuria. The next Unite and Fight as well as the new Babel Tower levels are going to be a lot of fun. Closing down the Day 1 stream, they've also announced a very large rebalance patch, 4 characters per element to be rolled out in waves, with Dark hitting first in late December. For Day 2, after the concept and the cosplay scenarios, we're met with the announcement for Versus and Relink. Versus will finally get its playable Vera and apparently a second version of Belial. The DLC will also have a Lapis Merit and an Avatar Belial skin for Gran and Jita, but sadly it's still all console only. There's been no announcement for a rollback type netcode or crossplay, and the PC version only reaches as many as 160 concurrent players on Steam. That's not a good look. What did have a good look on the other hand has been Relink. They've kept quiet for a year, but the results are showing. Even though we've only gotten a trailer instead of live gameplay, it's pretty clear how much they've improved on the rendering engine. The weirdly shaded models of last year are now crisp and clean, with the textures and shaders translating nicely the aesthetic of the mobile title. The skill effects look great and I can't take my eyes off of the pencil drawing effects of some of the textures. 90 minutes of standing ovations for the art team. Seriously. Even if it comes out as a generic action RPG, it's going to be worth the wait. The only one thing that I'm not 100% on board on so far is that hint of aerial combat. That looks a bit out of place. As for everything else, my money is already down. I just hope they don't screw the PC player base over again. The actual release date will be announced at the anniversary in March, so it's likely going to be either a summer or a Christmas one. I can't wait. After some VA minigames and random shenanigans, we finally get to the GBF news, opening with a new version of Satyr, followed by the reveal of two new Grands. The first one being Lancelot, coming out as a pretty big surprise and salting even more the wound left by the lack of Society Grands. For the second one, coming alongside the Old Bond event, is of course Fedil, finally. Fedil being released in the middle of the roulette is the perfect timing. Worst case scenario, it'll be a heavily discounted Spark, but there's no way I will get to January without my Draco Lich. And speaking of January, the new Tiger Zodiac is twins. Someone has been trying to pass this design off since the Vajra days and they look so damn adorable. Between Chicken, Fedil, Tiger and Lich, may Gachapin have mercy on my rolls. Should everything go wrong, I've got a 0.6 worth of gold moons and I'm not afraid to use it. In the new year, we will of course also get Kumbira's 5-star uncap, but for that all they've shown has been a silhouette. New year is also the time for new skins, this time going to Jeanne d'Arc in a pretty wonderful blue and white kimono, Lucio and Gazenboger. Next up, they've pushed back indefinitely the feature that was supposed to let players help in a raid after being wiped out. It was a bit of a weird idea in the first place, so who knows if we'll ever see it pop back up again. Sometime in February, we'll get a pretty big update to the Arcanum Sandbox, with 4 new areas, 4 new guidebooks, more pages to the guidebooks, a third equipable book, and the 12th grid slot that will also be really useful for Super Ultimate Bahamut. The new areas will of course be populated by recycled bosses or reskins, with one of them being a battle-worn Athena. We'll see her 2 weapons recolored and added as new Sephira ones. There's going to be 12 new Sephira weapons in total, so that's likely going to be the whole raid family. On top of that, we will finally see the AX mods added to the olden primal weapons, so both Fire and Water Magna are about to get a pretty decent boost out of AX attack alone. The new Arcanum upgrade will also bring 4-star uncaps for the new War Foundation weapons, but nothing for the actual evokers yet. Coming with the 8th anniversary, the crews will be able to unlock the Resort Island function. The map has a few facilities that can be leveled up by donating rupees or materials and will give some bonuses to the whole crew. The one showed in the presentation trailer went up to a 15% bonus experience at level 3, which is going to be pretty awesome considering how much the Eternal Transcendence sucks up. Next up is the Classic Draw, a secondary type of gacha that will only have weapons and summons released between launch and March 9th, 2016 in it. This new gacha is supposed to be a permanent banner from which you will never lose your sparks from, being able to accumulate them up to 300 over time and trade them for a unit of your choosing. This one looks a bit like a double-edged sword to me. It's supposed to remove a bit of the bloat from the normal gacha, but if they remove years worth of characters and summons, it also means it's going to be impossible to luck out on a Bahamut, Grand Order or Primal Summon whenever you spark for a new Grand. If it gets its own currency, it might end up impacting the speed at which you're able to save for a normal spark, and if they ever decide to hold free draws campaign and limit them to the classic draws, I don't even know where KMR could go to hide from the player base. On the other hand, if it doesn't impact the normal flow of the game and instead it's just an extra feature for which we get rolls for just by doing logins, missions or whatever, and it still allows us to save up and pick old characters missing from our collections, it might be pretty great. I'm going to need more details on how this is going to work before passing judgment. A lot more details. Until then, I will remain very skeptical on this. Speaking of sparks, they are apparently also adding prizes when you reach certain amounts of them. It's pretty nice and it's likely going to discourage YOLOing a bit, so I'm all for it. On to the quest side, they're going to simplify the special quest menu by removing the Elemental and 6 Dragon Trials, replacing them with a new quest that's going to drop all the related materials instead. Just a little note, there are trophies for clearing these quests X amount of times, and said trophies will likely no longer be available once they get merged. The 8th anniversary will also see the release of the first tier 5 classes. Berserker gets upgraded into a Viking, while Spartan becomes a Paladin. We've only gotten the concept art for these, but they look pretty nice. They will of course require level 30 of the correspondent tier 4 classes. The 8th anniversary will also bring a 4-star rank cap to the Archangel series of summons, as well as a new boss, Diaspora, last seen in the Homestay Moon event. And then, Gold Ship pops up to claim her place in Granblue Fantasy through a Yuma Musume collab, coming in February. It only took 3 years after beating Kmart to a Shadowverse match, but he's keeping true to his promise, and of course, the art looks amazing. The last bit of news is reserved to Gachapin and the Roulette returning, starting on December 22nd and ending on January 5th. This time around, Gachapin will have the community challenges for the player base that will bring a second roulette roll on the second day if the challenges are beat. The Gachapin Frenzy will also still be there as a safety mechanic, but this time it won't count the amount of rolls you've gotten, but the amount of SSRs, so hopefully things might be a bit more fair to the unluckiest among us. After another cosplay segment, as a post-credit scene, we finally get a teaser for the new anniversary event, this time being centered around the Primal Beasts, with Zoe, Geo and a new character thrown into the mix. Looks like it's going to be 3 pretty interesting months for Granblue Fantasy. Alright then, that's going to be it for me for the moment. Let me know which events or updates you're looking for the most down in the comments, and I guess I'll see you soon to check on the new class updates. Ciao!